For the recording, this is round 1 of Fight Night 4. We have Freya in the top half versus Jordan in the bottom half. Cypher versus Sothic. We've got Yorion revealed, and I believe players should be able to see deck lists if they would like. I'm in the match, so you guys can get started whenever. Looks like Cypher's keeping 7 and Freya's keeping 6. Now she does have a Yorion revealed, so the mulligan isn't going to be too punishing here. But it does depend on how much pressure Jordan can put on. This is exciting! We're back! Fight Nights are back. Gitaxian Probe sees Breeding Pool, Vesuvian Drifter, Arkham's Astrolabe, Birds of Paradise, Soul Herder, and Snow-Covered Forest. So the Snow Forest can cast the Astrolabe, but I imagine the birds will come into play this turn. So forest birds go. This might get killed. Jordan might take the opportunity to surveil here. Getting a C. Okay. Probably. No, it's just a troll. Okay. In that case, there's a decent chance this bird lives. Although, it is staring down a troll. So, Jordan there showing the strength of Reanimate at one point. Troll Swamp Cycling to get it into the graveyard without losing any resource, and then reanimating it as a threat. He then also snuff outed the bird, so now Jordan is on 7. But he does have a 4-turn clock. So this is going to be an interesting game here. It's possible that Freya is under too much pressure, but if she can answer the troll, we're probably going to be back at parity, especially if it's with like a Swords to Plowshares or something. Could just be Breeding Pool go. Oh, that's a shock, okay. Brainstorm's a good one. Respond with a mental note, hoping to hit misstep. Hits a daze, sure. So now Jordan is down a mana, has a 3-turn clock because Freya shocked with Breeding Pool. That is very notable here. That is going to change the texture of this game a lot, I think. One less draw step to find an answer is pretty meaningful. Jordan's graveyard has some spells, but nothing crazy. Yeah, as we can see, Nethergoyf is just a 3/4. It doesn't actually represent a change in the clock. Although it would have if she didn't shock. Would have gone from 4 to 3. So Freya now with 5 cards in hand against 3 cards in hand, one of which is an Underground Sea. So Jordan's pretty much shields down. I guess it could be Force Blue card, but if she can make a big play here, this might be a good spot to fire it off. So she's firing off an E-Witness, picking up a wooded foothills, so she wants to make her 4th land drop here. Probably going to chump this Nethergoyf and go to 5. So the pressure being put on by Jordan here, it's decently likely to be good enough. Even if Freya can put a large creature into play that has lifelink, for example, Troll having super menace is probably going to be too meaningful. And this is so much damage. So if you don't chump the Nethergoyf, you can't crack your wooded foothills. She's opting to go to 1. Okay. So she needs the E-Witness in play. For like a natural order? What can you NO into that's good enough here? Traxa doesn't do it. Oh, it is an NO. Okay. Well, that makes sense as to why we didn't block. I don't know what this gets that can answer this board state. Craterhoof isn't lethal. Traxa can't block. Traxa might be able to draw enough cards if you have fast mana in your deck, like a Lotus Petal or a Chrome Mox. Hey Crouch, how's it going? So it is going to be a Traxa. I don't know what this can hit. Hits a Solitude. Okay. So if she has a white card in hand, Solitude does buy her this turn. And... oh no, there was a Teferi in there, so she can just take Solitude Teferi. Okay. If this sticks... so now... Cypher needs either an answer for a Traxa, an answer at instant speed for one of his own creatures, or something else. Otherwise, if this Atraxa gets to untap and attack, I think she's in the clear. This is a big game. 5's off a Preordain. If we see bottom, that was a really heads-up play. Like, it's possible she didn't even have the natural order in hand and just didn't chump because this was out. Hitting the Solitude off a Traxa and a white card. This is close. It really is on Jordan here. He did top 1 card. So Preordained Scry was 1 top 1 bottom. So he has found something that either does something or, more likely, digs him to the next thing. If it's attack with both, Fatal Push your own creature. Doesn't have an attack. That's not good. If Atraxa gets to crack in and gets to connect, which I think at this point is quite likely, then she's going to be on 8 with a blocker. I imagine this is Baby Teferi. Baby Teferi sticks. I think she's out of the woods. I think she's got this game. Against a turn 2 Troll of Khazad-dûm. Just went to 1, stuck in Atraxa, killed the troll, can't attack, and now she now gets to start cracking in with a battle cruiser. It's looking good. So Jordan here is on, I believe this is a Sultai Nadu pile. Not much black removal that can deal with Atraxa. And very little green and blue removal that can do anything. Cycle on Earth, sure. Atraxa connects. No, not yet. I don't know what he can do if he found a cantrip. Okay, Atraxa connects. I believe Freya has stabilized. Now it's up to Jordan to... I mean, he could have a big Nadu turn here. That's probably the out in terms of getting traction back in this game. Because Atraxa is now a one-turn clock. Did he walk into the Tef passive? No, absolutely not. He didn't cast the spell. Didn't attempt to cast a spell. So clearly some attention is being played. Murktide, I think... I mean, it's an 8-8. Can block. Yeah, I know, Crouch. Replay the Netherglyph. Okay, well, if Freya can't deal with this Murktide, she can crack in and force a trade and go to 15, but then she has no board presence here. If she has anything that clears the way, Baby Teferi will protect that play. And if she clears the Murktide, then Jordan's just dead, unless it's with a Swords to Plowshares, or reanimating the Solitude. I think attacking with Atraxa and going to 15 and eating the Murktide is probably low enough value that I don't think we'll see this. Oh! This is why I put Freya on coverage. She is playing under the skin. She is playing cards that manifest dread as a way to cheat large creatures into play, and it's so sick. So just then, she paid 3 mana to cheat in presumably a large creature. It could just be a land, it could just be a spell. And with the second part of Under the Skin, she has regrowthed the Solitude. So now she might be able to deal with this Murktide. Flicker Manifest. Yeah, that's what this deck is. It's so cool. I saw posts about it in the 7-Point Discord about how there was this ridiculously sweet Manifest Dread deck running around. And immediately I said to myself, if Freya joins a fight night, I'm putting her on coverage. Because that's so sick. And the backup plan of green creatures with natural order, and also just like a semi-fair game plan, this deck is so cool. So I did not find an answer to Murktide Regent, which would have let her attack with Atraxa there. So presumably she has Solitude, no white card. Jordan now gets to play spells again. If he finds a Nadu, we could see a big turn. If he finds a Nadu and has a fetch land, this could still be a massive turn. It's possible also that Freya does have a white card and just didn't value the attack with Atraxa, because Murktide getting exiled would have put Jordan to 15, and then he would have taken 7 down to 8, and she didn't value her life total as much. And so she might be holding up the Solitude in case Jordan does find a Nadu, which would be very heads up. Because the fail case then is being able to simply hard cast the Solitude, and that way you're not down anywhere near as many cards, and just taking a turn off attacking with Atraxa in order to stick a Solitude and be up a card. I think both players are playing this game really well. I think it's crazy how many permanents are in play. Considering at the start of this game, Freya's turn 1 was Birds of Paradise, and on Jordan's turn 2, he killed the birds and made a 6/5. That was his turn 2 on the play. And this is where we're at on turn 7. There's, 30 power in play across both players. They're both on sub 10 life totals. This is wild. Puts a counter on Murktide Regent. I think that's mainly if it gets plowed. He could also have an answer to Atraxa, in which case he's hoping that that sticks and he gets to attack with Murktide for lethal. Notably, cycling the Generous Ent made Nether go for 4/5. Parent Oculus. Okay, well. So I think the reason the landfall counter went on Murktide is because Jordan's read is that Freya is planning on hardcasting the Solitude and didn't find the white card. And if she's going to exile the Murktide, he wants to buy as many turns. Because now, if Murktide gets Solituded, Atraxa is a 4-turn clock. He'll go to 22. It'll be a 4-turn clock. He's managed to buy a full extra turn in this sequence. Oh, he's attacking. So he's just forcing the trade. I think if you're attacking, you definitely should be putting the Bristly Bill counter somewhere else. Okay. So now, this is round 1 of Fight Night 4. And we are going to have 2 separate players manifesting Dread. This is so great. Manifest Dread is a mechanic from the second most recent set in the game. And Richard is playing today, which means we also have a Black Lotus in today's event. So in this format, where people are allowed to play Black Lotus, 2 separate people have manifested Dread on stream. I love this game. That's so great. So now we just have a pile of stuff. I'm assuming this is Solitude on the Oculus. Clears the way to Fairy ticks up. Solitude is somewhat threatening to block. I'm not certain how much air is in Freya's hand. She does have 7 mana, which means next turn if she hits an 8th mana, she can Yorion. Point Dread. This is a weird board state. Because of the Solitude and the Atraxa, both players have clawed back to healthy life totals. Now we have 15 versus 12 in a game where both players have been on like 1. I think Jordan's lowest was 7, and Freya's lowest was 1. So Jordan's follow-up here is a Bone Man. This is going to presumably tag the Atraxa. I'm assuming he'll go for it here, because I think you get too much value out of it. Notably, if you don't want to attack with Traxa, you can play a land to trigger Bone Man. But I think we're just going to go for it and hope it works. Alright. Does this get through? Okay. Both players are going to have an Atraxa trigger resolve this game. Holy. Both players are also going to get to attack with an Atraxa this game. And I think this Atraxa is probably attacking Teferi. Like, your board state isn't strong enough to start going face. And Solitude is lifelink. Which means Jordan will go to 19, Freya will be at 15, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. Games this strong shouldn't... Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. We're on turn 8. And in this game, we've had a turn 2 Troll of Khazad-dûm, a turn 4 Atraxa Grand Unifier, a baby Teferi against a deck with quite a lot of instants. We've had a 15-15 Murktide Regent. We now have a second Atraxa on the stack. This one having haste. This is an absolutely insane game. And Jordan chose no cards with Atraxa. I'm going to guess that was a misclick. That's not great. Oh, that's not great. Okay, so we have 3 Atraxa tracks and 1 Atraxa block. But we only have 1 Atraxa trigger. We'll dial it down a little bit. Games... That's unlucky, Jordan. So I think Atraxa has to attack Teferi. And then Freya might just jam a Yorion and draw a card, get a Solitude trigger, maybe turn this Manifest Dread up. There are just going to be so many game actions in this game. This is absolutely insane. Okay, we're cracking in. I believe... Yeah, so both of the ground creatures are attacking Freya directly. Atraxa are attacking Teferi. So Jordan identifying that he can get a bit of chip damage in. 15 down to 11. So Jordan's misclick of not hitting cards off Atraxa would have only given him 1 instant, 1 creature, and 1 land. However, the land would have had value because of Bristly Bill. The creatures were Baragoyf or Psychic Frog. And all of the instants were quite good. So this is a pretty big deal here. So now Freya gets a turn. If she hits another land, she has 8 mana, which means she can buy Yorion and play it. If it resolves, she gets a Solitude trigger, an Astrolabe trigger, and we might see what's under the Manifest. If she doesn't go for that, she has 7 mana and can still commit something decently big to the board, and we can see what happens. She binned a Philia with the Surveil trigger. Philia with Manifest Dread? That's so sick! This deck's so cool! Now, in saying all of this, so Freya's potential this turn is quite high. However, Jordan does have a very real board state. This Bone Man has quite a lot of targets, and notably, Emperor of Bones normally only gets 1 activation. However, with Bristly Bill, you can potentially get more things over the course of a game. And with fetch lands, you can get more of them at instant speed. Pre-war is probably going to pick up E-Witness, which is probably then going to pick up Natural Order, assuming that she has a second large green creature in the deck now that Atraxa's gone. or possibly a third large green creature because of the manifest token. But, I mean, this deck manifests and flickers, so I would assume there are 3 to 4 large green creatures. I'll have a look. So we have... Oh, okay. We have 7 large green creatures in the main deck. Oh boy. This could be anything. She then had... Oh, she had a Dryad Arbor for the natural order. That's huge. Because now she gets to keep the E-Witness, which she can flicker with Yorion. She can also flicker the pre-war and get more. This is so big. So now Jordan has to deal with an immensely large board state, the threat of an absolutely enormous Yorion turn, and potentially rebuying specific cards. Looks like Torsten hit a Curator Beastie, Prismatic Vista, and Vaultborn Tyrant. So Vaultborn Tyrant, some people will know from Flash or from Standard. Curator Beastie is one of the sweetest things I've ever seen. It's a 6-mana 6/6 with Reach. When it ETBs or attacks, you Manifest Dread, and colorless creatures get 2 counters when they come into play. So if Jordan could have forced that pre-war, this E-Witness wouldn't be here. There'd be a Dryad Arbor in play. There wouldn't be a Torsten in play. I mean, it's obvious that that not having the Atraxa trigger will matter, but it's possible it won't matter enough. I mean, the Bone Man can keep chipping away at the graveyard. He can make a Generous in if he wants. He has now Elk the Torsten, so when it dies it won't make 1/1s. Notably, Freya has 7 mana. If she hits 8 mana, she can do a massive Yorion thing, but she can also just cast these massive green creatures that are in her deck to cheat into play, which I think is a very, very heads-up deck-building decision. Being able to actually cast the things that you would normally be cheating into play is a huge deal. It's the reason that your Bant deck with Natural Order and Atraxa should probably be playing a Bayou, even if you're not playing Death, right? This Manifest Dread token is attacking. And Freya Snap no blocks. That is a baller move. I mean, I don't know what it could have been for 2 mana. Okay, well Jordan has an Oko going. I mean, if she just goes for Yorion and it sticks. But surely you go for something else. The Teferi's in the bin, that's a big deal. If you can get the Teferi out of the bin and back on the stack, that might be able to help you force through the next spell. But I mean, Jordan's hand is real light. I don't know what 2-mana spell he can have that interacts with Yorion here. He's already used Daze. He has 1 card, so it can't be a force. It'd have to be like a Mana Leak or the Domain one. Stern Scalding doesn't do it. Could be Mystical Dispute. I don't know if he's beating Yorion. It's crazy to me that this game has gone to turn 9. Both players have 10 minutes on the clock out of an allotted 25. Are we going for it? Or we're going for like a Voltborn Tyrant? I think Voltborn Tyrant is also very reasonable here. They don't have time for game 2. I mean, if game 2 starts the way this game 1 started, and ends the way that we all expected it to end, it'll be fine. There was a turn 2 troll of Khazad-dûm, and he got to kill a birds. Oh, it's Drown in the lock? No, it's Fatal Push on the Manifest. Okay. That gets rid of that, which was... Oh, Wild Spine Worm. Okay. So now Yorion gets a Solitude trigger, a Torsten trigger, an E-Witness trigger, Pre-War, which is bringing back a Birds of Paradise, and an Astrolabe trigger. Best Fatal Push I've ever seen. It is pretty good. That Fatal Push dealt with a Wild Spine Worm. This is pretty good. doesn't really go much better than that. Hitting a card that costs 11 and is 4 bodies in a can with a Fatal Push? We might have to point it. Also, welcome to the stream, Spiderbite. First time chat from fellow committee member Michael. Good to have you. I mean, this is just... Surely this is enough, right? We have to be getting to a stage where Jordan will simply die in a couple of turns. I mean, he does get to Elk the Torsten again, but now there's a 4-5 Noodle attacking. Solitude gets to tag something. Looks like it's tagging Emperor of Bones. E-Witness is picking up Teferi. Pre-War's picking up Birds. And then she'll have a card draw and a Torsten trigger. So she can overdraw and go to cleanup to set up her hand, or she can just take 7 and stop. But that is an insane Yorion. I just finished getting completely beat up by Tom Pot in round 1 for the 2nd day in a row. That's a rough go. Hey, Tom. First time chat, Tom has played every fight night, and this is the first time he's chat in my stream. That's toxic. Love you, bud, but that's toxic. Yeah, it says first time chatter. And it was a response to someone else. That's so rude. Alright, realistically, I don't see a way out of this. I think it would have had to been Nadu off the top, Elk something, get a Nadu trigger, hit a fetch land, and try to go off. I think that's the most we could have got there. Unfortunately, pretty sure we're dead. Oh, we get a count on Nethergoth. And we can start activating Bristly Bill, which will let Jordan size out the ground creatures. But notably, Freya has 6 power in the air, 2 of which has Vigilance. So she can clear the Oko, assuming the Manifest doesn't have flying. And she has 9 mana to do stuff with. It's pretty bad. I assume she's going to lead off with Teferi. I don't know what Manifest could possibly stop Teferi from coming down. She can bounce one of Jordan's creatures, but I don't know how much value that has. You might be better off just resetting one of your own creatures. I mean, she could pick up Yorion post-combat and just get another 7-card Yorion pile. And she'll have 1 mana left over for interaction. She'll get another E-Witness trigger, another Solitude trigger, another Torsten trigger, another Astrolabe trigger. She'll get a draw off to Fairy and reset to Fairy to 4. She'll unequip the pre-war from Birds and get a Stone Forge or like a Hierarch. I think that's the play. I mean, you could also just play a 6-drop from your hand. She does have quite a lot of cards in hand. And we know some of them absolutely go hard. We have a Vesuvian Drifter on the stack. Flying, you may look at the top card of your library anytime. At the beginning of each combat, you may reveal the top card. If you reveal a creature card, this becomes a copy of that card until end of turn, except it has flying. What on earth is this card? I have never seen that. That's wild. I mean, none of the green creatures that she could hit with Vesuvian Drifter have haste, presumably. And you won't get an ETB trigger. So it's presumably for next turn. Okay, we're bouncing the Netherglyph, so she's just playing for the board. Wants to lock it up. I assume she'll clear the Oko here. It's a pre-manifest. A very strange card. I mean, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact on this game. Yorion getting 700 things will have an impact on this game. So you can clear Oko. Can't really attack because Visible is going to be a 4/4. No, she's just getting in there. Okay. I don't know how much I agree with this combat. Freya has 5 minutes on the clock. It's game 1, and I'm pretty sure this is going to go down to time. That's a big deal. She should maybe stop putting so many triggers on the stack. I mean, Jordan has 9 minutes. Like, he does have a decent and relatively healthy clock lead. However, Freya can probably win this game in about 10 seconds with F6 combat, F6 combat. And I think the odds that she can win another game in 3 minutes 45 is pretty low. I think the odds that Jordan wins this game is very low. And I think the odds that... Like, the thing is, Jordan can't win this game, right? It is just incredibly unlikely that he can survive 2 to 3 turns. Which means, depending on how much time Freya spends ending this game, she might have enough time to win another game by punking out a, turn 3 Atraxa or something. Which means Jordan's clock lead won't let him just F6 a million times to win the match. He can simply die. She also has to be a little bit careful in terms of not dying to some nonsense. There's a lot of triggers. She spent 1:15. I think she could have got this done with less. I think she could have just put less on the stack. Because she needs another 2 to 3 combats here. It's probably this combat and maybe one more combat. Because this is like 12 damage. He goes to 9. Definitely dead next turn. Gets to keep some creatures. So the optimal play for Freya next turn is F6, attack all F6. And then she has 2 minutes, 40 something to win the game. It's possible. I've won games of Moto with 10 seconds. You know, it's possible. It's gonna be very close. This combat should do it. I'm pretty sure. 1, 4, yeah. Okay. Freya wins game 1. They're gonna go into sideboarding. She has 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Jordan has 8 minutes 13. So Jordan's win condition is definitely the clock. However, he does have to play enough in terms of interacting with the board, interacting with her hand, to not die in 2 minutes. Like, 2 minutes is enough time that you can't simply repeatedly F6 and have Freya time out here. So he does have to actually play the game. But he can think a bit more about his decisions. Freya is going to have to just look at her opening hand, see if it kills in 2 minutes, and ship it and hope. That's what's going to be optimal here. This is close. I mean, if she was just a regular Mana Dog deck, I don't know if it would be possible. But the fact that she can put in a Traxxas really, really early is a big deal. If she can go Dork into Eno Atraxa, if she can get a World Spine Worm in play, it's possible. It's possible. She has 14 mulligans to Eno. Freya only installed Moto yesterday, and apparently the hotkeys are broken on her computer right now. Oh no. I knew she was fresh to Moto. I didn't know about the hotkeys. That's really unfortunate. If she... I mean, she can spend her sideboarding time fixing her hotkeys. That might do it. She has 3 minutes of sideboard clock. That clock is not connected to your gameplay clock. If she can't get her sideboarding time to fix her hotkeys, she can concede game 2, which will take 2 seconds, get another 3 minutes of sideboarding time. She'll have the play to win in 2 minutes. This is gonna be hairy. This is way more gripping than yet. Oh! Oh, she might have heard me. I might have... That was either very heads up, or I might have told her to do that. If I did, then that's a bit... But now, so she spent 12 seconds. She has another 3 minutes of sideboarding time where she can fix her hotkeys. And then she has a minute 55. And she has to win a game, but she'll be on the play. Jordan has 8 minutes, so he can't play perfectly either. He can play well. He'll have enough time to play decently well, and it'll only be 3 to 4 turns that actually matter. I agree with you, Spiderbite, though. When playing for the clock in this exact situation, if you win game 1 and you need to win a game before your clock runs out, you should always be conceding if you have a spare game to do so that you have the play in the game that you're actually going to be playing and trying to win. Because if you're on the draw in the game that you're trying to win in 2 minutes, it's going to be significantly harder. This is gripping television. I'm very glad that this is our round 1 feature match. This is crazy. I hope everyone's on the edge of their seats. It's 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. for you, Crouch. Everyone else, it's midday. But I appreciate that you're here at 2 a.m. The sweat has got to be insane. Yeah, this is the hairiest I think it possibly could be. She has a minute 30. That's doable. That's doable. Manadork, go. Manadork something, go. Atraxa, attack you. Attack you. She's mulling to 5? She's looking for a big hand. I mean, she's got to. We're down to a minute. I don't know if it's enough now. If she got to snap off a 7... Okay, we're keeping 5. We have 50 seconds. I think this is technically doable. I think now Jordan doesn't have to do anything. But he can. And Freya just has to take her actions in her first main phase and F6 as quickly as possible and move on. Losing the birds. Oh, she's put a ponder on the stack. That's going to take so long to resolve. Okay. Shuffles. Manadork. Needs to be a Manadork. 17 seconds. Jordan playing correctly. He's got enough time. He can make meaningful decisions. Eight seconds. No play on 3. I think that's gonna be it. I don't think this is doable anymore. I mean, in terms of the actual gameplay, assuming that Freya mulliganed reasonable hands that wouldn't win in 2 minutes, I think we could have had a really interesting game 2 and 3. Unfortunately. She had a flash in hand. GG's. GG's. Very unfortunate way for that to play out. That game one was just absurdly long and brutal. And not having hotkeys. That is unfortunate. However, for the recording, that does mean that Jordan will win his match against Freya here. Very, very well played from both ends, but especially Freya in multiple different aspects. She had several different things that she was trying to work on at the same time, so great effort there.